This film is based on a true story. A girl named Hachin Shuruku, whom everyone simply called Aynur, passed away in February 2005. Aynur's younger brother took her life to save the family's honor. A memorial was organized in Berlin. Hundreds of people brought flowers to honor the memory of the poor girl. This is her story. In May 1998, 16-year-old Aynur was studying at a good gymnasium in Kreuzberg. The girl wanted to get an education, but her parents decided that it was time for their daughter to get married. Aynur was sent to Turkey, where the fiancé, her cousin, is already waiting for her. This was decided for Aynur by her father Rohit, who had been working in a large bakery for over 20 years. Aynur's family stands out from other Muslim families with extreme religiousness. There are 9 children in the family. Aynur's eldest brother Tariq took leave from the army to attend the wedding. Her second brother, Shinan, Aynur considers an idiot. The youngest brother Nuri dreams of becoming a professional boxer. The fourth brother Aram moved to study law. For Aynur, Aram was the only friend. Now the father and brothers are happy about the upcoming wedding, while Aynur's mother helps her put on the wedding dress and asks her not to disgrace their family. The mother's name is Dinia. She instructs the daughter to please her husband in everything. Aynur's sisters, Shirin, Seima, and Lauren, are also obliged to follow strict religious customs. Dinia continues to advise the daughter on how to behave with her husband. To disgrace the family means to go against the rules. Family honor is most important for a Muslim woman. Rohit led his daughter to the altar. Aynur knows well that if she refuses the forced marriage, it could end badly for her. A year later, Aynur got to know her husband much better. In April 1999, being pregnant, she returned to Berlin to her parents. Seeing her daughter, Dinia was to say the least surprised. Finding out that the husband was treating Aynur cruelly, the family did not take her side. The mother said that such things happen in any marriage, while the brothers and father believed that Aynur herself gave her husband a reason for such treatment. Aynur cried, saying that she couldn't go back to Turkey. Aram was the only one who supported Aynur. His brothers insisted that their cousin was acting out of the best intentions. For the first time in a year, Aynur could sleep relatively peacefully. The next morning, the men attended prayers. Eventually the father allowed the daughter to stay in the parental home, but for this, Aynur will have to pay a high price. If a woman fails to preserve her marriage, she must repent by wearing the hijab and working hard. Leaving the house alone is forbidden. Attending school is also prohibited. Learning that Aram was planning to return to Cologne to continue his studies, Aynur was upset. He believes that his sister should leave too. Soon Aynur gave birth to a boy named Jan. Dinia still hopes that the daughter will eventually return to her husband. With the birth of the baby, the atmosphere in the house became more tense. Aynur sticks to her room with her sisters. Brothers are taboo for them, and vice versa. The constant crying of the baby annoys the younger sisters. Aynur left the room to soothe her son, but the brothers are even more annoyed. Eventually Dinia took the grandson in her arms, telling the daughter to go to the kitchen and set out the food. Aynur is tired of feeling like life doesn't belong to her. She would like to go outside with her child, but the front door is locked. At night, Jan cried incessantly, depriving Aynur's sisters of sleep. In the morning, exhausted, Aynur asked her father for permission to live separately, but neither he nor her brothers would allow her to do so. Aynur has to seek out the most secluded corners of the house where no one would disturb her. Rohit doesn't understand why all this is happening to him. When Aynur was asleep at night, Shinan came, despite being forbidden to be alone with her. Waking up and sensing something wrong, Aynur drove him away. The next day, she went to her brother and demanded that he never do such a thing again, which infuriated Shinan. Their parents came running to the screams. Barely holding back tears, Aynur recounted what happened at night. Of course Shinan denied everything. Rohit demanded that the son leave the apartment immediately. Shinan couldn't defy his father unless he changed his mind. Dinia burst into tears, unable to do anything. Tariq believes that Aynur, not Shinan, is to blame in this situation. She is the source of all their family's problems. Nuri overheard this conversation. The boy continues boxing every day. Tariq helps his younger brother and advises him to be wary of women. According to Tariq, women cannot be trusted. In the morning, Aynur lied to her mother that Jan had a fever. It was the only excuse Aynur could use to leave the house. The girl knows that by this act, she betrayed her family, but she could no longer stay in the house. Aynur sought help from a social worker to provide her with a room. Learning about this, Dinia was very angry. If the daughter lives separately, she will tarnish the family's honor. Rohit reacted more calmly, but nevertheless he shared his wife's position. The Aynur family moved to Berlin in the 1970s, leaving the past behind, just like Aynur is doing now. But the difference is that according to tradition, a woman cannot leave her husband or family and live separately with her child. However, Aynur did it her way. It was April of the year 2000. Now she lives in a dormitory with her son, like other single mothers. Aynur works in a supermarket, but the money is still critically short. Additionally, the girl plans to resume her studies. Heike Beck, a social center worker, agreed to help her. Under the Young Mothers Housing Program, Aynur received a separate apartment. Aynur managed to combine work, studies and caring for her son. Later, Aynur met a girl named Sana, who also lived alone with her daughter. The girls quickly became friends. Meanwhile, the men in Aynur's family pray in the mosque every morning. Tarek and Nuri are worried that their father's health has been deteriorating lately. For the first time in her life, Aynur went to a disco. If her family found out about it, it wouldn't end well. Furthermore, Aynur stopped wearing the headscarf. She saw nothing wrong with showing her hair. In September of the year 2000, thanks to Beck's help, Aynur moved to a large house. Her life changed drastically. From now on, Aynur is fully responsible for herself and her son. For the family, it was a shame or a stigma for life. Any sin leading to immorality must be severely punished. Aynur continues to work at the supermarket. Once a handsome guy approached her and started flirting. Now Aynur is a free person, so she can smile at men. One day Aynur met Shireen, who doesn't understand how her sister can walk down the street without a headscarf. Rohit, as well as his sons, are furious. Aynur brought shame upon them. Dinia found the daughter and saw her smoking. The mother begged Aynur to come back home, but it was certainly not part of her plans. In front of her mother, Aynur got into the car with that same guy. To release his anger, Nuri trains with double diligence. When he met his sister on the street, he said that their whole family suffers because of her. Now Aynur looks and dresses like a European. Once she received a call from Shinan, who threatened that if she didn't leave the city immediately, it would end badly for her. The threatening calls from her brothers continued. Aynur hoped to receive support from the mother, but she didn't want to talk to her. Despite everything, Aynur continued to secretly communicate with Shireen, who told her how things were going in their family. But she didn't mention that Tarek and Nuri started visiting the mosque more often. The brothers would like to punish Aynur, as tradition dictates, but such methods are prohibited by law in Germany. Aynur received a diploma as an electrician, completed an internship and started a new job. Unlike her sisters, Aynur is an independent person. The girl knows that all the relatives are looking for her. Aynur's boss, Bakir, is also a Muslim, but he firmly believes that religion cannot be imposed. Aynur is no longer afraid to flirt with men and agreed to go for a motorcycle ride with a handsome guy named Tim. Later she met with Aram, who on one hand is proud of his sister, but on the other hand fears for her. Aram believes that Aynur should move to Cologne, but she still hopes to reconcile with the family. Despite everything, she loves them all. The romance between Aynur and Tim is developing rapidly. Tim treats Jan as his own son. For the first time, Aynur feels truly loved. In the middle of the year 2003, when Nuri was working part-time at the supermarket, a friend told him that Aynur was dating a German. On the same day, Aynur received another threatening call. The brothers insult her, but she doesn't care. Tim wants to go to the police or move away, but Aynur doesn't see the point in it. The next morning, when Aynur was riding the bus to work, Tarek approached her and demanded that she go with him and their father. Aynur remained silent, clearly indicating that she wouldn't go anywhere. Even a slap and insults didn't affect her. In the family's opinion, Aynur has turned into a man, and this is the worst disgrace for any religious parents. On Saturday, when Aynur and Tim were having fun at a bar, her brothers were chasing them. Fearing for his lives, Tim decided to break up with Aynur. If she had agreed to move with him, everything could have been different. So Aynur lost the beloved because of her family. She cried for a long time. At work Aynur was like a robot, and at home she cried again at night. Beck was worried about Aynur and suggested she undergo psychotherapy, but she refused. The problem is only with her family. Bakir appointed additional training sessions for Aynur to improve her qualifications. It made her smile. Step by step Aynur is getting her life in order. In the year 2004, she met with the mother and sister. Dinia was very happy to see her grandson, who has grown up a lot. Aynur shared that she is doing well at work. Now that the head of the family is often in Istanbul, and Tarek lives with his own family, Nuri has become the main man in the house. Dinia advised Aynur to talk to her 18-year-old brother. Perhaps things could still get better. Soon Aynur arrived at the parents' house. Nuri was playing with his nephew. However, Tarek was clearly not pleased to see his sister, who had brought shame upon the family and the house. Later, Tarek talked to his younger brother and said that they should take care of Jan and punish Aynur. The mullah explained that the children of mothers who have strayed from religion also live in sin. That's why it's the duty of men to protect younger brothers and nephews from fallen women. Aynur received another threatening call from Tarek. Aynur turned to the police, but they were powerless to do anything for now. Only Aram treats the sister well. He doesn't understand why Aynur doesn't want to cut ties completely with the family that hates her. Aynur knows she's putting herself in great danger, but she still wants to be part of the family. Soon there was a celebration for Jan's birthday. Nuri also came with a gift, but upon seeing strange men in Aynur's apartment, he immediately left. It was at that moment that Nuri made his fateful decision. He believes that Aynur is unworthy of living. Now no one can know for sure which family member was aware of his plan. In any case, the old rules dictate that the youngest carries out the cleansing. At that moment, Aynur suspected nothing and lived her usual life. She passed the practical part of the exam but not the theoretical. She has one more attempt. Aynur prefers to spend her free time with the son. They celebrated Aynur's birthday together. Sana's friend offered Aynur a job in Freiburg, so she will be able to move there right after the exams. Sana and her daughter also came to congratulate Aynur. The friend gave her a CD with the favorite song. At that moment Aynur was simply enjoying life, unaware that it would all end in 3 weeks. Next we see an 18-year-old girl named Evan, Shirin's classmate. Her family is also Muslim but different from the Shuruku family. Evan's mother, Dilber, owns a dry cleaning business. Today Evan is going to Shirin's house to prepare for a math test together. Dilber loves her daughter more than anything in the world. Evan never wore a headscarf. Despite the fact that the girls were very different, they became friends. Shirin introduced Evan to her brother. Nuri fell in love with Evan, but for her to become part of his family, she must follow their traditions. Shirin taught Evan what it means to be a pious woman. To please Nuri, Evan wore a headscarf, which her mother didn't like at all. It is unclear whether Nuri initially told Evan about his plan to punish the sister. But one thing is clear, Nuri saw his girlfriend as a true Muslim. After a week of dating, he proposed to her. Later in court, Evan will deny this. Soon Nuri showed Evan where he learned to shoot. At that moment Evan didn't believe her boyfriend, who allegedly got the gun from the brother. When Aynur came to visit the mother, Nuri told her not to come to this house anymore. Aynur stated that she would do as she pleased, and no one had the right to tell her otherwise. When the brother suddenly asked Aynur to walk him to the bus, she readily agreed. On the way she smoked. At some point, Nuri pulled out the gun and asked his sister if she was remorseful. Before Aynur could answer, Nuri fired. This is how he restored honor to the family. Nuri fled the scene of the crime. Soon the police arrived. The next day Nuri, acting as if nothing had happened, met with his girlfriend. She directly asked him if he was involved in what happened to Aynur. Nuri remained silent. Shinan joined them, saying that Nuri did a good deed. All infidels must be punished. This day became a celebration for the Shuruku family. Realizing the awful truth, Evan called the mother and told her what had happened. The conversation was interrupted by Nuri. Tarek wants Evan to provide Nuri with an alibi and lie to the police. Dilber immediately took her daughter out of that house. Evan refused to discuss the situation and ran away. 8 days passed. Evan still remained silent. Nuri sent her 50 messages a day. Soon she was called in for questioning. For 8 hours she lied to the police about Nuri's alibi. Then Chief Commissioner Heckner turned to Dilber, who stated that her daughter was lying for Nuri. Dilber was taken to the police station, where she was able to talk to the daughter and persuade her to tell the truth. Evan gave new testimony. After that, the girl took off her headscarf. Both mother and daughter got into the witness protection program so that the Shuruku family could not harm them. The 3 brothers appeared before the court as defendants, and Shirin acted as a victim on behalf of her sister. Under family pressure, she passed on all the information about the case to her brother's lawyers. Evan boldly reiterated her testimony in court, accusing Nuri and Tarek of everything. In the end the judges believed Nuri's testimony, and he received a prison sentence for a single offense. It was not proven that Tarek obtained the weapon used in the crime. Next we can see real footage of this story. 9 years later, Nuri was released from prison and flew with his brothers to Istanbul. By that time, their father had already passed away. Testimonies from Evan, Dilber, Sana, and Beck prevented Aynur's mother and sister from obtaining custody of Jan. The boy grew up in a foster family that took good care of him. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel not to miss more exciting new products. Also, the authors will be pleased if you leave your opinion in the comments.